in Zen Buddhism is that we have to see this mind ground ourselves. We have to be the mind ground ourselves. We have to take a step before our personality and know the one source which we and the grass and the trees and the sky and everybody in the room all arise from simultaneously in this moment. Master Indo says, to say this way will do and not this way will do too is too diffuse, is not subtle. That is just to say everything is okay, everything is, everything just as it is whole and complete, lacking nothing, without being able to have any discernment about skillful, unskillful, without having any ability to discern right and left, man from woman, what we need to do, what we don't need to do. Just to say it's all whole and complete isn't adequate. To say this way won't do and not this way won't do either is too strict. So if we can't say this way is the right way, we can't say all ways are the right way, what is right? How do we practice? Without entering either of these two paths, what would be right? What would be skillful? So in practice, we're caught constantly in Sesshin. We struggle. And we hear, the more we struggle, the more we create that which we're struggling against. If we don't struggle, then we just become placid and vapid. What do we do? How do we practice when we can't go forward, we can't go back? We try too hard, then we become tense and tight. If we don't try hard enough, we just get sleepy and dull. How do we practice? How do we practice beyond this and that? And of course, that is part of the challenge that we have. There is when people are trying to make a decision, if they stay with something long enough, they finally will really know what they need to do. If, on the other hand, they get impatient with that process and jump and make a leap, and are not patient with that process of really chewing it over carefully, and there's always second guessing, always doubt, always wondering, right thing, wrong thing. Our practice is the same way. We are investigating, is there anyone in there? And we hear from, these books and things, oh yeah, it's just vast emptiness, vast space, nothing abiding. And yet, we are very convinced that there is somebody very much here. Somebody takes away our shoes or something important, we very quickly find that person and become upset. So in practice, we have to investigate thoroughly and completely and totally until we are convinced. And we convince ourselves that what we are really seeing is what is true. And that's not easy, because we are very stubborn creatures. It is very hard for us to go beyond our own opinions. We have to see that there is something bigger and more intimate, something that is richer than just this personality that we are all imbued with. And unless we make a thorough investigation and try everything and go for years sometimes looking and looking and looking and looking and looking, even if we are seeing the truth, we don't believe it. And much less be able to act from it. So practice is not about, let's just sit down and practice and we'll get what we want. Let's sit down and practice, and if we do the right thing, we get the reward. Practice is not about, let's sit down and pay our dues, and then we get the benefits. It is the very investigation, it is the very coming back, it is the very inquiry, it is the very inherent frustration that the path involves that is so important and so vital. It is walking up the mountain and all of the obstacles that we encounter that is really what's so important. That's where the juice is. You're walking up the mountain. It may take days to get up to the top of the mountain. You're only at the top for a few minutes. But it may take days or weeks. It is the frustration. It is the continual returning. It is the feeling of hopelessness. It is the feeling of brightness. It is seeing the mind ground. It is being lost in confusion. It is judging and thinking. It is having times of great clarity. It's all part of the spiritual path. Nothing is rejected. But the quality that makes it the spiritual path is this quality of curious inquiry. What is real? What is true? Let me see for myself. Different teachers, of course, have different ways of expressing their particular understanding, their particular view. And of course, each of us is in different, unique circumstances. Each of us has his or her unique financial situation and health and education. And each of us has our particular response to being inundated with media, our particular education, our particular kinds of ignorance. Each of us has been cultivated and developed by our exposure to travel and other cultures. Each of us has a particular kind of maturity. And as a culture, we think about things a certain way just because of the English language. So in a way, this life is absolutely, completely unique and must be respected as such. Precious human life. But that which is the mind ground is the same for everyone in all places at all times. And we have to appreciate and use our unique life to enter, to go beyond, to let go, to become one with our karma, to see the great truth that radiates. This koan continues, the great master Ma was very ill and was dying. The temple superintendent came and asked him, "Teacher, how are you these days?" And Grand Master Ma said, "Sun-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha. Sun-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha." Of course, we can look at that in lots of different ways. Day and night, knowing and not knowing, short and long, transient, temporary life, and great boundless life. It's all our life. Frog, the breath, the sun, the darkness of night, the difficult, challenging, hard times, the bright, clear, even times. Bright Buddhas, dark Buddhas. Empty Buddhas, full Buddhas. Sun-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha. It's all whole and complete, lacking nothing. And yet, that may be the case. And yet there's still something more. During a Teisho or any kind of teaching, because there's so many different kinds of minds and so many different kinds of maturity and so many different flavors of people, their unique history and education, health issues, and other things. Lots of different things are talked about during a Teisho. Lots of different things are written in different books. And so if something strikes you and something resonates and you can say, oh, that's helpful, that inspires us to keep looking, to keep practicing, to keep going, then attend to it. If, on the other hand, it makes no sense at all, or just sounds nonsensical or boring, ignore it. Just drop it. We are looking with our whole body and mind, at our whole body and mind in every sense. What is fundamental is always fundamental. And each moment is new. There is another koan from the Mumonkan. And the koan is very, very simple. Master Isan was studying under Hyakujo, the same Hyakujo of Hyakujo's fox, the Mumonkan. He worked as a tenzo, as the chief cook in the kitchen at the monastery. Hyakujo wanted to choose an abbot for Dai monastery. He told the head monk and all the rest of his disciples to make their Zen presentations, to show their understanding. And then the ablest one would be sent to found a monastery. Then Hyakujo took a pitcher, placed it on the floor, and asked the question, this must not be called a pitcher, what do you call it? The head monk said, it cannot be called a wooden sandal. Hyakujo then asked Isan. Isan walked up, kicked over the pitcher, and left. Hyakujo said, the head monk has been defeated by Isan. So Isan was ordered to start a monastery. In one's commentary, extremely valiant though he is, Isan could not, after all, jump out of Hyakujo's trap. On careful examination, he followed what is heavy, refusing what is light. Why? Who knows? Taking the towel band from his head, that is his tenzo roll, insignia from his being a tenzo, he put on an iron yoke. Iron yoke is something they put, or wooden yoke is usually something they put cattle in when they were pulling a plow in the old days. And they were usually made out of wood. And of course the beast would push against that, and that would in turn pull the wagon or plow. But he says you put an iron yoke, one that's even heavier, unbreakable. We are practicing, and we're revealing our practice in whatever we do. How we walk, how we eat, how we walk outside the zendo, how we walk inside the zendo, how we sit down, how we work. It all reveals our state of mind. And practice is, of course, not something that is done just sitting here in the zendo. This particular container, as we mentioned the first day, is set up so that we can continue our practice. Our mindful examination, our inhabiting of the body, and being meticulous in what we do throughout the day, throughout the night. In this particular koan, somebody's just given something, here's this thing. Show me the truth of your practice. Here's this rake. Show me the state of your mind. Here's this pot. Here, practice with this pot. Everything we do is our practice. And this inquiry into what is the mind ground, what is real, what is true, can be continued one way or another throughout the day. Everything we do. In this case,